Nice. Talkative crowd tonight. Everybody being friendly. That's nice to see. Enjoy conversation. Okay, good evening. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2024, and the time is 7 p.m. This meeting of the Prosper ISD Board of Trustees is hereby called to order according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Representing the quorum this evening, we have Mr. Webb, Mr. Dial, Mrs. Dixon, Mr. Cavender, Mr. Linker, Mr. Van Wolf, and myself, Bill Beavers. The Board of Trustees extends a heartfelt gratitude to our entire Prosper ISD community. We are deeply appreciative of our residents who approved a $2.7 billion bond for new schools construction, our dedicated teachers and staff who tirelessly serve our students and families, our parents who support our teachers and campuses through volunteering and partnering with us in their child's education, our exceptional campus and district leaders whom we believe are the finest in Texas and continuously strive for excellence. Your collective commitment to Prosper ISD is what makes our district thrive. Thank you for choosing and supporting our schools. Mr. Dial, would you please pray for us this evening?
Yeah, please bow your heads with me. Father God, we come to you tonight with grateful hearts, with thankful hearts, to get to sit here tonight and focus on district business, always keeping the students and staff front of mind as we're making decisions up here. God, I pray that you would just give us wisdom and discernment as we ask for each month, as we consider the matters before us. God, I thank you for the administration, the staff, the students, the families that represent Prosper ISD, and just ask that your hand of blessing continue to be on them as we work towards the upcoming breaks. God, I pray for focus and perseverance for our students each and every day. We love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Webb, would you mind reading the board's vision this evening, please?
No, not at all. The board's vision is to ensure a safe and supportive educational environment that promotes academic excellence and opportunities, honors traditions, fosters student learning, facilitates effective recruitment and retention of talented educators, and grows all people at all levels.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. As always, this meeting is being conducted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, which can be found in Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. All of our voting must be in public, but we can privately discuss certain items, including but not limited to matters regarding individual employees, individual students, land acquisitions and real estate, school safety and security, and matters requiring legal advice. However, after that private discussion, any final vote must be in complete view of the public. In accordance with the Open Meetings Act, the agenda for tonight's meeting was posted for the public to view at least 72 hours before the meeting. Future business coming up, you've got some dates in front of you. Certainly want to draw attention to the first one. Early voting has now begun. That will go through November 1st. We encourage everybody in Prosper ISD, as well as our great country, to get out and vote. That takes us to celebrations.
Yes. I'm going to have Mr. Hatch come forward. He doesn't get these things without you.
His daughter's here too.
Well, come on up.
And he voted already.
I know that.
Way to go, Mr. Hatch.
Right away.
So as you can see, Mr. Hatch has quite the personality, and we love him dearly in Prosper ISD. He is our PHS audio video production teacher, and he is one of 3 recipients of the Trailblazer Award from the Texas Association of Journalism Educators. This award honors those whose efforts to expand the scope and capability of Texas scholastic journalism and benefit others who will follow their lead. If you've ever been able to see Mr. Hatch in action with kids, it is something to marvel at. It's almost like magic happening in front of you. I walked in his classroom this last week, and he's just sitting there having a collaborative conversation and planning and treating them as if it is the real world, and we've got to do our work. So, want to say congratulations to you, but I want to thank both of you because I know it takes a lot of extra time and effort and travel away from the family. And so it has to be a supportive family in order for our great educators to reach this level. So thank you also. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Let it go.
We had Coach Sarah Bolford. Nick, are you coming up or are you?
Come on,
Yeah,
boys.
you're coming.
Come on, boys.
Smith, you're coming too. And guess what?
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Jones is coming too. Mom and Dad are here too.
Yeah.
Yes.
The whole fam, let's go.
You're gonna hold the whole board meeting up.
There we go. That's awesome.
It's a pretty big deal. So, Walnut Grove High School's Coach Sarah Fulford was voted the North Texas High School Golf Coaches Association Boys Coach of the Year for the 23-24 school year. Recipients of this huge honor are nominated and voted on by their peers. Coach Fulford has run a top-tier program, certainly a top-tier program that just opened, I might note also. And it's resulted in boys and girls district titles and boys regional title with all three of her varsity teams qualifying for the state tournament. Her dedication to the athletic and academic needs of her athletes is immeasurable. What she has accomplished with her first-year program has been nothing short of awe-inspiring. So congratulations, Coach Fulford. I will say, I went to the golf tournament, the state golf tournament, probably 2018. And Coach Sharp was there, and then I met Sarah, and I'm like, why is she not impressed for ISD? And look, now here you are. It's amazing, and your mom and dad came up. So
That's
we're
great.
very proud of you and want to thank you certainly for everything that you do, and to the family, and certainly all the support with our coaches too. Great coaches don't get there, great educators don't get there without an army and a village behind them. So I want to say thank you for all the support. You don't have mom around some nights and some days, and so we want to say thank you to both of you guys too for letting her do what she does and work her magic. So thank you very much, and congratulations, Coach Wolf.
Way to go, Coach. That's great.
Thank you so much for coming on. Okay, this next award is for our Into Learning Principles Institute. We've been really excited to be able to partner with Into Learning, and they offer various levels of training at the executive level, at the principal level, but also we just had a teacher leadership academy in our own district where we were able to pour into some of our amazing teachers. When I walked in the room, I was blown away from sitting in that room because it was the best of the best of the best. But tonight, I want to focus on a couple of principles that we sent into learning to be poured into also to really refine and hone their skills in leadership and learn from others in the state. The Principals Institute is a year-long professional development series that provides a unique opportunity for principals to understand why transformation of public education is necessary and develop the knowledge and skills required to lead and build the capacity to sustain transformation over time. The future of Texas public schools depends on the quality of its leaders. Attending the Principals Institute allows principals to experience one of the most noteworthy professional growth opportunities in their careers and collaborate with the innovative Principal Institute network that now stretches nationwide. Each year, 60 to 70 principals are selected to join Into Learning's Principal Institute. Prosper ISD is honored to have 3 of our principals selected to join this elite cohort. Ms. Kim Newman from Bryant Elementary. Ashley Gannon from Calhoun Early Childhood. And Mr. Anthony Dunnington from Winson Ranch Elementary. Certainly proud of these amazing leaders and the work that they are doing. And I think the key word in what I read was transformation. And when I think about our principals and the work that they are doing, they're thinking well beyond the walls of the school and really leaning into that transformation and how do we get our kids ready for the next level, whether that's to the next school level or out into the workforce, military, or college. So it all begins right here. So thank you all for your dedication and certainly what you're bringing back to our district for you and me.
Awesome.
We do have another group of principals who are attending the Bob Thompson Principal Academy. This is also a selection process. The Thompson Principal Academy is in its 26th year of providing advanced leadership development programs to campus principals. The Academy's goal is to assist successful principals in achieving even higher levels of leadership and proficiency. Admission to the Academy is competitive with a target class size of approximately only 25 participants. Prosper ISD is honored to have Mr. Terry Mouton from Rock Hill High School selected to participate in the Thompson Principal Academy. You know what? I actually got to speak to his Principal Academy, and he looked a little concerned. Right? Yeah. No need to go into it. It was good. So our next award is PLC at Work School. Solution Tree Director of Educational Partnership, Jennifer Ivey. She has a few things that she wants to share with you about our schools. Come on up. Absolutely. Make yourself at home.
I mean, we don't let anyone go to the podium.
Dr. Ferguson, President Beavers and trustees, I'm honored to be with you this evening to recognize the success of several Prosper ISD campuses. Solution Tree is proud to partner with Prosper ISD and celebrate the growth of your educational community, teachers, leaders, and most importantly, your students. The very foundation of professional learning communities at work is to build a lasting culture of learning with a daily focus on student achievement, and these campuses have done just that. Because of their focus on collaboration and communication within their collaborative teams, they have increased capacity in both their teachers and students. These educators have a sense of ownership and collective responsibility within their collaborative team and a common school-wide mission to educate, inspire, and empower all students. Tonight, we honor 4 campuses, and I've never done this before in a board meeting to do 4, so this is pretty awesome. We honor 4 campuses that have received a PLC distinction, either PLC Promising Practices or a Model PLC. And I'd like to begin with our Promising Practices honors. Promising Practices is an initial step toward becoming a Model PLC at Work school. Promising Practices schools have strong evidence of their solid foundation required to become a Model PLC at Work and share at least 1 year of data that shows student achievement growth. And I'd like to congratulate the following campuses for achieving this award. The first is Prosper High School. If you want to come up. We have a certificate, a frame certificate, and their flag that they can fly at school.
great.
Congratulations.
Great work.
And our second Promising Practices campus is Bryant Elementary.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill, for helping. Thank you.
Great job. Great work.
Our second honor tonight is for two schools that have achieved Model PLC status. Model PLC at Work schools have committed to the PLC at Work process, which is ingrained into the day-to-day culture of the school or district. Model schools provide at least 3 years of data showing evidence of student achievement growth attributed to their PLC practices. And I'd like to congratulate the following campuses for achieving this award. Reynolds Middle School. I got to celebrate with their campus this afternoon. It was pretty awesome. And our final award is a Model PLC campus, and it goes to Cockrell Elementary.
We have all our teachers in the back here too. They're the ones doing the hard work.
It's awesome.
Let's move. We're not good enough. Yes, we are. Okay.
What's up?
Yep, if you just
Good to
scooch
see
in,
you all.
point five, we'll get
Yeah,
really
get
tight.
really close. We're good. Put Lopez in the front. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Great work. Yep.
So very proud of those campuses. We set out on a mission last year to start going after this, and we want to talk about let's go and do great work for kids. These campuses will conquer it. All of our campuses are working towards this. It's just who gets to the finish line as fast as they can to get well. It's never done, so there is no finish line to actually get the designation. I also want to thank Mr. McLaughlin and his team for the incredible work that they've done behind the scenes. Mrs. Cockrell, Dr. Gray, Ms. Stelly, Ms. Biggs. There's been a whole slew of people who are really pouring in to make sure that this work and the support that's needed for each of these campuses is in place. So thank you. We're going to see PHS come on back up because they have yet another award, and it is the AP School Honor Roll. This is a huge award. I think we've gotten it one other time several years ago. So in addition to the Promising Practices School designation, PHS has also been recognized as an AP School Honor Roll. The AP School Honor Roll recognizes schools whose AP programs are delivering results for students while broadening access. Schools earn this recognition annually based on criteria that reflect a commitment to increasing the attending college culture, providing opportunities for students to earn college credit, and maximizing college readiness. I want to thank Mr. Jones and his team for the amazing work that they're doing, and I think we've seen evidence of it, beginning with Mr. Hatch tonight, of the magic that happens there. Very, very excited to have this award, and Mr. Jones, along with all of our principals, truly that transformation is where they sit. They also sit in how do we do what is absolutely best for every single kid on the campus and give them our absolute best every single day. But it all begins with a great leader with a vision. And Mr. Jones, as well as our other principals, had a vision and a dream of what was going to happen for kids, and they're making it happen. So congratulations. Remember, I'm not going anywhere. We get up here. Mr. Goldberg, got that message loud and clear. Congrats.
Okay, that brings us to the intermission portion. I know that we have a lot of educators here that have got families at home. Y'all are certainly more than welcome to stay if y'all would like to, but if not, this would be a great time to go home and spend a little time with your families. And thank you for the rest of y'all that stayed. I see that we've got a couple students out here tonight. Who's PCIS that's here? All right, good for y'all for being here. Thank y'all. And any ready, set, teach? There we go, in the
Excellent.
back. Good, love it. Okay, so two great groups that, hey, we love to have y'all here. So y'all will now get to see government in action. So we will we'll try and keep it entertaining for you here. And Dr. Ferguson, that was great, getting able to recognize all of our educators.
A
It's,
lot of amazing work that they're doing.
yes. Okay, this evening for public comment, I believe we have one on non-agenda related. Mr. Roundtree, non-agenda related, correct? Okay, perfect. We will wait here in just a little while and get to that part then. That takes us to number 7, informational reports.
Yes, so our current student enrollment, you can see that we continue to go up, an add from last year to this time of 3,211 students. I know over the last 2 weeks ago, we had 45 students enroll, and then it turned into 47 students. So I'm assuming there's some homes out there closing. And as I've talked to registrars, so we're seeing those numbers go up pretty significantly, for giving us a total student enrollment of 31,613 students. We have our video for our bond projects.
Next, we have Dr. Stephanie Mueller, who's going to come up, and she's going to present about our college career, military readiness, dual credit, and advanced placement, which you've already heard a little bit of a glimpse into that with PHS. So we'll hear about what's happening across Prosper ISD. Welcome, Dr. Mueller.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. So anytime I start a presentation about college career military readiness, I always have people think of 3 words, right? And you would think that they're pretty easy to think of, right? College career military, right? Those are the 3 words. But it goes well beyond just those 3 words, because having a student who is college career military ready means that they're ready to contribute in what we're calling a future forward world. So it goes just beyond the words. It really looks at also the curriculum, the resources, the programs, the activities, and everything else that Prosper ISD is able to provide all of our students to make sure that they're ready to enter the workforce, career, and college once they get through graduation. So what are these criteria that we're referring to here? Well, a lot of times it's easier to put things kind of in columns, in rows, to make them easier to understand. And a lot of what I do is college readiness. So it's based on SAT, ACT, talking about college prep courses, AP, and dual credit. But I get the honor to work with other areas as well. So with career readiness, you'll have the opportunity to hear from Ms. Anderson later in the year about very specific programs of study and our industry-based certifications that we're able to offer our students in Prosper. And then, of course, we have our military program, our JROTC at Rock Hill High School that we're extremely proud of. And we are partnering with them as well to make sure students know what opportunities they have within the military once they graduate from high school. But we have to kind of move backwards to know where we are now. So I've only been in this position a little over 14 months. So it's been a lot, and I appreciate the opportunity. But it's been a lot to have, you know, to make happen in the last 14 months, and I couldn't do this by myself. So a lot of what's been going on in the past 14 months is about collaboration and working with different departments, working with curriculum instruction on building the college prep classes, working with curriculum and instruction as far as CTE is concerned, and making sure that we have robust pathways for our students that really highlight those opportunities that they are interested in. Not just what we think they want, but also what opportunities they really, really want to take part in. But I also get the opportunity to work with counseling as well. So we're talking about helping counselors really advise students on next steps. So we're talking about 4-year planning, making sure students know what is out there for them. So it's not just about taking your 4 core classes every year. It's also those other opportunities as far as classes are concerned. And then finally, there's a communication piece. And that communication is making sure that parents and students are aware of everything that's going on in the district. So everything from sharing information about what to do with the PSAT results or the SAT results, or having CCMR nights so parents can understand what programs are available in district. All of that has been a huge part of what we've been doing over the past 14 months. Really and truly, collaboration has been the key to building capacity as far as building our CCMR awareness and making sure that we're ready for whatever is coming next for our students. I just mentioned a little bit about the programming plan. So when you think about the first part of what I just shared, a lot of it was data, collaboration, communication. What I'm specifically referring to is here. So those are our advanced placement and dual credit, our amazing AVID program at Rushing that I'm going to talk more about, our programs of study, our new college prep courses, allowing students the opportunity to take the TSIA-2, which is a placement exam to make sure that they're ready for college, and then making sure they're aware of resources, and just really highlighting all of these programs for our students. So like I said, 14 months, we have been working and really delving in. But two years ago, I have to get my dates right here, the state said only 60% of our students had to be CCMR met. And we were already thriving above that 60% mark. But starting with the class of 2023, the state said we had to be at 88% CCMR ready in order to meet state standards. Well, we were already working toward that. And so part of that programming piece I was just showing you was really about how can we make sure that students know all of these different ways that they can be college, career, and military ready. So accountability for CCMR is not fun. I mean, just bottom line, because it is a lagging indicator, which means what you see up here, it's actually kind of misleading in one regard, because what you see there with the 2024-25 prediction is accountability that we'll see next year, but it was the class of 2024 graduates. So you can see each year you've got class of 2021, class of 2022, class of 2023, and then class of 2024. So you can see we've had steady growth in students taking advantage of those opportunities that we have for them. So specifically, as far as programs are concerned, I want to make sure that we spend some time talking about advanced placement courses. Advanced placement courses are those high school courses that are designed to give students that experience of taking an introductory level college course. They are rigorous, right? They give the students an opportunity to earn college credit as well as high school credit. So students do take an advanced placement test at the end of their course, and students who score a 1 or a 2 do not earn college credit, but students who earn a 3, 4, or 5 do earn college credit. And I think that's important because college credit isn't the only reason we want students to take the classes, right? They also build those soft skills that are so important for students to have in order to be successful for after high school. So you can see here there's been steady growth over the past 4 years as far as school students who have enrolled and then number of tests taken. We do offer 32 AP courses, and last year we had 2,655 students take a total of 5,761 tests in our district. Approximately 80% of those students scored a 3, 4, or 5 on those exams. If I go back, fall of 2025, you can see we do have 3,992 students currently enrolled in AP. Now, for those of you who may have students, the registration window is open now for enrolling to take the test or registering to take the test. So I can't tell you how many students will take tests this year, but it will be, there will be a lot of growth, let's put it that way. So the next area I'd like to discuss is dual credit. So dual credit is the opportunity for students to take both, to take a college class but earn both high school and college credit simultaneously. It is an extremely cost-effective way for students to get their first taste of what college really might be like. So we do have a bunch of students who take things like English 1301 or History 1301, and those classes are easily transferable to most colleges throughout the US. So let's look at data there, and you will also see growth over the years. This fall, we have 1,422 students enrolled in 2,926 classes. So what you see there, that is just this fall. 2024, that's for the entire year, 2023 for the entire year. So we are also seeing exponential growth there. We also have about a 96% passing rate for our dual credit students. It is important to also note that they have access to everything Collin College has to offer. So they have access to use of the learning centers, the campus libraries, bookstores. They are also students who complete even a single college course are more likely to graduate from high school, attend college, persist in college, and complete an associate's degree or higher. So students who have that opportunity while they're in high school are more likely to be successful when they do enroll in other college classes after graduation. Now, I want to make sure I I should say this for last year. We do have 39 dual credit courses. We had 1,068 students enroll in 3,564 courses. And like I said earlier, we already have 1,422 students enrolled in Collin classes as of this fall. I do want to discuss some individual student recognitions, and these are things we should be extremely proud of. So first, we do have 14 National Merit semifinalists amongst the 3 high schools and 39 commended scholars as well. I also want to point out our National Recognition Program Awards, and this is 240 students across all 3 campuses. And students qualify for these awards if they earn a GPA of a B+ or higher on the PSAT, if they are within the top 10% of assessment takers in each state, or if they have earned a score of 3 or higher on 2 or more exams by the end of 10th grade. So all of these students won these awards, and I always get asked, so I just want to go ahead and put this out there. We are still a rural community. This is not something that we fill out. This is not anything. This is from the National Center for Education Statistics. So we figure this has to do with consensus, yes, the data.
Census.
Census, thank you. Census data. But we are so proud of these 240 students that earn these National Recognition Program awards. The final program I would like to spend a moment discussing is our AVID program at Rushing. AVID is an amazing program that is designed for students who may face various challenges but show great academic potential. And it really is there to give students that extra layer of support, and it helps students achieve academic and personal goals. They offer amazing levels of support, resource, and guidance, and it's really about making sure they are aware of every opportunity they have after they graduate from high school. And that picture right there was our first AVID field trip, and the 2 amazing site coordinators and their entire site team took the kiddos to UNT, and they got to visit, they got to eat in the student union, all those things to try and get those 7th grade students excited about the opportunity to attend college after graduation. And as I mentioned earlier, I could not do this by myself, and I have this amazing team that I get to work with every single day. Miss Webb, Miss Sipes, Miss Pruitt, Miss Biggs, I could name a million people who are there every day to make sure we are giving our students every possible opportunity to make sure they're successful after high school.
Thank you,
That's
Dr.
it.
Mueller.
Thank you guys
Thank you
very
very much.
much.
Impressive. I think one thing to note also, just to make sure we give credit where credit is due, the Prosper Education Foundation helps with industry-based certifications, AP test, dual credit registration. So they're filling in the gap for those students who may want to apply for a scholarship to have those things paid for. So we wanted to say thank you to them too. I think that's why we're seeing probably the increase also, because most of our AP kids are 5 classes that they're taking, so that's 5
And
tests.
I'm so glad you just said that, Dr. Ferguson. We did just award the scholarships today for AP.
Awesome.
So yes, we feel very, very lucky to have that partnership as well.
Very good. Okay, so we have our 2025-2026 school calendar. There is option A and option B. This is an informational report. Really, the state of Texas, Texas Education Agency, each of our students is required 75,600 minutes. So the calendar committee gets together and they look at how do we kind of make all of this happen within those parameters. A couple things that we're looking at, we had half days on this school year's calendar, so we're going to full days. Just looking at our students not being at home alone, parents having to take off work and those adjustments, so we're at school for that full day, because we usually around December and then the last day of school, so those will be full days, and that's on both calendar, option A and option B. But then really I guess the only variation is around the fall break time. So there's a Monday, Friday, or there's a Monday, Tuesday option. But we'll put this out for information to our community and our staff and allow them to be able to weigh in and put in their vote, their thoughts on which one. And then we'll be looking at bringing this back to you probably next month for consideration and approval. Dr. Bradley's back.
Yeah. Just took a little vacation. I don't know what you're
You look rested.
Yeah, that's right. Good to be with you, members of the board. I have an informational report tonight about an exciting possibility. And as you know, in the 2023 bond, the community supported $125 million for a performing arts center. And we've had a lot of conversations about that. And what I'm presenting to you tonight is just a possibility. All right, so everything that you're fixing to see is nothing has been signed or agreed to. It's just something I want to make you aware of, a possibility of a potential partnership with the city of Frisco. You know that the southern part of our district, about 7.5 miles of Frisco, makes up Prosper ISD, part of the 58 square miles that we have. And the city of Frisco has long pursued a performing arts center. And there's a possibility now that we could combine efforts and take what would be for us an impressive facility and possibly partner into a world-class facility. And so I want to show you just a couple of things tonight. Again, this is all preliminary. Nothing has been signed off on. What I'm presenting to you tonight is just our hope to sign a letter of intent. It would be non-binding, but just to say that we would like to pursue this idea a little bit further. And so what we're talking about is a Center for the Arts. And again, these details are just thoughts at this moment based on some research that the city of Frisco has done. As I said, they've been pursuing this for many years. And so they have a lot of knowledge, worked with several consultants about what would be required in a facility like this. We have done some research on our own, trying to determine what would be best for our students and how it would best serve our population. But what you're seeing here is just some data points of what we would be proposing. And so this would be somewhere over 200,000 square foot facility. It would have a 2,800 seat large hall. I'll talk about that in a minute. 300 to 400 seat PISD community hall that would be predominantly used by Prosper ISD. And by predominantly, I mean on a daily basis, where we would have students having class there and then using that facility. And this community hall, along with the large hall, would be operated most likely by a third-party operator that would be responsible for making sure that this facility is used nonstop, right? That we would certainly have the first right of refusal to use it whenever we wanted. Beyond that, anytime there was a vacant time, you know that we are always getting requests to rent out our facilities for so many community events, and we have to say no oftentimes because we just don't have the space. And so if there were events or times that we were not using our facility, that the community would have an opportunity to use those as well. And so this breaks down. We spent some time with consultants and the city of Frisco talking through what this might look like. And so there on the left, you see the PISD Community Hall. Again, this is a 400-seat venue that would also have a classroom component to it. And we estimate that PISD would use that 84% of the time, all right? But I want you to think about the fact that we're not in school every day of the year, and we're not using it on Sundays. And so there would be a possibility for other entities to rent out the space, to use it in those times. But again, we would be using this on a daily basis. And then when we talk about the large hall, the 2,800 seat hall, what you see there is just some idea that 5 years in, I guess I should say at this point that if we were to move forward with this, we don't anticipate this would be open until 29 at the earliest, 2029. So these projects take a long time. So at that point, right, we would have 4 or 5 high schools and 8 to 9 middle schools. And so thinking through what we would use the facility for, what events that we have that would require 2,800 seats. You know that our high school auditoriums have 1,000 seats. And so, you know, there's not a ton of things that we have that would need 2,800 seats, but we certainly have some events and we would want our kids to have the opportunity to perform in this world-class facility. And so, we're just doing some estimating on what that would look like. It'd be difficult to say exactly what this will look like. But again, these are just the thoughts that we're having right now, talking to some experts in the area that have run these other large facilities. And so what we're looking at is, you see that we're pretty far into 2024. If we're going to go forward with this, a lot of decisions need to be made in the next 6 to 9 months. And again, that's why I'm bringing it to you tonight. We've had some conversations over the last couple of months, but bringing this to you to, again, consider whether we want to move forward with the city of Frisco and talk through this, because the plan development needs to take place, because it's going to take a while to design it, certainly take a while to construct it. And so we need to get on the ball and figure that out here soon. And so that just gives you a little bit of the timeline. This just shows you, I know you're very aware that the southern part of our district is in the city of Frisco. And the city of Frisco has some land in that area that would support this facility as part of some ongoing development that they have close to the tollway. And so I think it would be a fantastic and accessible location for all of our students in Prosper ISD. Again, anytime, no matter how this community grows, the tollway and 380 is always going to be the access point. And this would be close to the tollway and 380. And then just a couple of slides here talking about the facility-wide educational opportunities. So the discussions that we've already engaged in look like, hey, we talked about the community hall already, this 400-seat venue, our kids using that all the time. Our kids are already getting a fantastic fine arts education in all of the opportunities that we have at our high schools. But now we're talking about the ability to do that in a community hall, but then also be exposed to Broadway level productions. So to be clear, the intent of this facility would be that it would host Broadway productions. Clearly, that's not going to happen every day of the year, but it is going to be a piece of what's going on. Also, there's going to be a lot of concerts going on in a 2,800-seat music hall like this. And so our students that are in this program would no doubt have the ability to have internships, to work alongside, and be industry ready, right? Which is kind of what we just talked about, college, career, military readiness. This is career stuff. In the few discussions I've had with a Broadway partner already, where they're talking about desperately needing people, right? And this would be an opportunity for students to be involved in something like this and walk right into a career as they complete high school. These are not, I don't know that the facility is going to look like this. This is just an idea of what a community hall would look like. I'll show you a cutaway here on the next situation, or the next screen, showing you this is primarily what our $100 million would go to. We would commit to $100 million, or up to, I should say, up to possibly $100 million to fund this facility, giving us the predominant use of this community hall, the access to the large hall, and everything that this facility provides. And our students could be involved in basically everything that goes on in this facility. And so while it's a large amount of money, the exposure this would bring for our students, the ability to use this space, I think, is second to none. And then this is a picture of something, what a 2,800-seat community hall looks like, or large hall looks like. This is the range that Broadway needs to make it make sense, right? There's a certain size of venue that they want. And so, I think this is a show here. Just imagine a couple years from now, a Wicked performance occurring in this facility, and our kids getting to play a role in that, and how awesome that would be. And how awesome that you wouldn't have to drive to Fair Park to see it, right? And so your family could enjoy this and see, again, just world-class facility for our kids to be involved in, and for our citizens to be a part of. And again, just another cutaway. Again, don't know that it would look exactly like this, but just rendering something about what would go on. And so I imagine our kids being involved in all the back of house operations, and again, booking events and whatever they would want to be involved in this facility. This is just a small breakdown of what the capital stack would have to look like. What we're talking about in this moment, just so you're clear, is that we would commit up to $100 million of our bond money. The city of Frisco would provide the land, and $150 million from their budget. They would have to pass the ability to use that money, so they would have to go to their voters. I do want to note even here that in case someone's worried, our citizens that live in Frisco ISD would not be double taxed. I can get into those details later, but that's an important part. I want no one to be concerned that they would be paying taxes to property taxes to us and then property taxes to the city of Frisco for this. But there's a different funding mechanism for that. And then the community $100 million. This has a component of philanthropy to it, that there would be those in the community that would want to donate to that. But that adds up to $350 million, which lets you know if we're talking about a $350 million facility, this is something pretty impressive. This is not something that we could ever afford to build on our own. And then the last point I want to make about this is that I think the other possible huge advantage to something like this is this would prevent us from having to pay the M&O cost every day for this facility. One of the difficulties other districts have run into with having their own performing arts facility is that you have it and it sits empty 70% of the year and you're paying for everything that goes in there. And 20 years from now, when all the technology needs to be replaced and all of that has to go on, the school district is on the hook for that. This would be an opportunity for some shared cost as opposed to just the district having to fund all of this. And so I think this is, as I said when I began, I think it's an exciting possibility. There are still many hoops to jump through, but I wanted to bring this to you tonight so that you could see this, that the community could discuss this. I'm sure we'll get some feedback, but I think this is a potential awesome opportunity for our kids. And I think it's one that we would be wise to at least consider, again, because there's no way that we could construct something like this on our own. And to have the exposure that I think we all want for our kids. We've already seen from the stadium, kids getting college scholarships because they can run the scoreboard and all of the electronics that go on in that stadium. We've already had multiple kids go on and pursue that in college. I envision the exact same thing happening in a facility like this. And so there you go. That's a potential of the Performing Arts Center with the city of Frisco.
Thank you, Dr. Bradley. This is extremely exciting. And again, just so that everybody is clear, this was already approved in our last bond, so this would not be going out to the taxpayers again for approval on this. We are looking at ways to maximize our dollar on this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
It's
a
in the
cost
part of the 2023
savings
bond.
Cost savings
also,
as well.
because
Yes.
we were awarded $125 million, as Dr. Bradley said, up to $100 million. So there's a $25 million cost savings for our taxpayers.
I believe City of Frisco will be discussing this in the very near future.
Yes, sir. Their council is aware, and I think there may be their next scheduled meeting. I think they will talk about it the same way and discuss entering into, again, a non-binding LOI. But I do want to make mention again, they're much farther down the road than we've been on this because, again, they've been pursuing this for a long time with different venues and different partners and trying to figure out what makes the most sense because, again, it's not easy to come up with $350 million in the land to do it. But I think they have a strong plan that just happens to fall within the boundaries of our district.
Perfect, love it. Any questions for Dr. Bradley while we have him here? If not, we look forward to more information in the future on this.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
So he's not leaving. He's going to talk about zoning
Oh,
now.
Now, I'm going to talk about your favorite topic. Yes. Middle and elementary school zoning for the 25-26 school year. Recently, we met with the board subcommittee concerning zoning and went over the challenge that is, particularly on the west side of our district. So just to reset, you know that next year in August, we're opening 4 new schools: Thompson Elementary, Smotherman Elementary, Mosley Middle School, and Richland High School. We've already talked about Richland High School and set those boundaries, but today we're talking about the elementary and the middle school. As I feel obligated to mention every time, and I think you all agree with me, it's our least favorite thing to do, to rezone students. But I will remind all of our constituents we are the fastest growing district in the area, arguably the nation, and the west side of this district is the fastest growing portion of that. And so this is what we end up with when you have 3,200 students coming to a school district in a year. And just to remind you, 75% of districts in the state of Texas don't have 3,000 students in them. and we're growing 3,000 students. So we're growing a district a year, right? And so as I mentioned recently, I think on the video, in 2016, we had no schools west of the tollway, and next year we will have 10. So this is just continuing to grow. And this map is our recommendation after meeting with multiple demographers and having multiple conversations about what we think is going to happen. This is a map that we're recommending. We are going to go through the process, as you know, and to make our residents aware. We're going to release this tomorrow. There will be an online portal for them to provide feedback, concerns, questions that they have. I believe it's October 30th that we're going to have a community meeting where you and I will be there. We'll present and then listen to gather that community feedback regarding the elementary and the middle school zones. And so we want their feedback. We want to hear from them, because while I've looked at this map a lot, I never suggest that we've got it perfect. We want to try to honor as many requests as we can, but at the same time, we cannot continue. We can't have one elementary that's got 1,300 kids in it, right? We've got to use our resources better than that. And so what you're seeing in front of you is a map that really honestly impacts the zones of Christie, Smotherman, which is new, Hall Elementary, Thompson, which is new, Boyer Elementary, and Liliana has a piece that's being affected there along Preston Road, on the west side of Preston Road. Light Farms is being touched a little bit. Some of these are very minor, and some of them are quite large, right? When you've got 2 new schools, we had to create 2 completely new zones for them. The other thing that always gets a little confusing in these is sometimes a zone encompasses a lot of area, but there's parts in the northwest corner of our district where there's square miles with no residents, and then there's square miles with 1,000 residents. You know, I mean, so it's sometimes the size of the zone belies how many students that represents, and so as we continue to grow out, we'll have to make these adjustments. But we're bringing this to you tonight for the elementary. I'll show you the middle school in here in a second as our recommendation. Again, we will collect feedback from it. But before I move on from the elementary map, any questions or comments about that?
Dr. Bradley, for Rucker, can you address the low number for Rucker?
Yeah, so Rucker is low. We're looking at adjusting populations that we have there. Rucker is going to be under construction next year. And so part of what's going on with Rucker is, we're building new Rucker right behind old Rucker. And we need to get that population down if we can, because it's already tight. We have 10 portable classrooms at Rucker currently, and we need to get those out so we can have some room. And then giving them a smaller population will help with traffic and all the things that we have to navigate next year. And so we're looking at moving, programs, other students out of there and taking them more than likely to Thompson Elementary, which will give us some freedom at Rucker for this year. And then I would imagine, moving forward, right, we will readjust that attendance zone. We would not intend to build new Rucker and then leave it at 350 or something like that, right?
I think that's good. And Dr. Bradley, again, like you said, we will have a time for community feedback, as we have over the last few years, which has been, I believe, very beneficial to our community. One of the things that we've been asked there is, hey, why do y'all put something out and then come in and have us comment on it? Well, we need to at least have something out there so that people can comment on it. If not, we'd have a million different ideas and things like that. So this is why we put this plan out there for the community to comment on, and then take their feedback and listen to that. And I want to say that adjustments have been made each of the last couple of years based on that. So
Yes, sir.
that is why, and may very well happen again this year.
That feedback is important, certainly. Switch over to the middle school now. This map shows that, again, there's really nothing going on here with Hayes, Jones, and Rogers, because the middle school that's opening is on the northwest side of the district. And so Mosley Middle School, I remind you, is built on our new floor plan, just like Jones. It's built to hold 1,500 students. You'll see that number there is a large number, 1,507. It can certainly handle that. The situation here is that that's a large zone, but there's a couple of things I want to point out. Right now, Reynolds Middle School has almost 1,800 students. As you know, Reynolds we completed phase 1 this summer, adding a few classrooms. We're in the middle of phase 2 right now, where we're adding gym and performing arts space. And this summer, we will begin phase 3 of renovating Reynolds Middle School. And so part of what's going on here is it would be almost impossible to do that with Reynolds at 1,800 students. If we can get some numbers down, we would like to do that. The other difficult thing that's going on here is that you know that 1 year from now, we're going to open Middle School 7 and Middle School 8. And Middle School 7 is right there along Legacy Drive, due east of Mosley Middle School. And so this puts us in a tough spot because we don't like to move kids around multiple times. But again, fastest growing area of the fastest growing district in the United States. These are some of the issues we run into. And so there are some students there. Star Trail is affected by this, Legacy Gardens, Creeks of Legacy. There's some students there that we would ask to go to Mosley this coming year, and then they would ultimately be rezoned in the following year to Middle School 7, which is right in between Star Trail and Creeks of Legacy. I mean, it's less than a mile from both of those neighborhoods. And so this shows a lot of students going to Mosley and then coming back to Middle School 7 a year down the way. What I want to put out there and have everyone know is that when we get there in 26, in the fall of 26, the way we have designed this, we will have 8 middle schools and we will have 4 high schools, and each high school will have 2 middle schools feeding it. And so for the first time since we just had 1 middle school and 1 high school, we would have a true feeder pattern in this district of 2 middle schools feeding each high school. And so I think that's important to note. There's always pain in the process to get there. When I know we're going to get some questions about Mosley having 1,500 kids, Rushing having 960. I want to remind you that Rushing was built to a capacity of 1,200, that Mosley was built to a capacity of 1,500. Reynolds will be up to 1,500 when we're done with it. But in this situation, almost any other way we flip the map would have Rushing with 1,500 students and Mosley with 900 or 1,000. So we would have 1,500 students in the school that was designed for 1,200 and 900 in the school that was designed for 1,500. I know at the end of the day, you all are tasked with doing what's best for all of the kids. And as parents, we're tasked to advocate for our kid. And we know that most of the time, I think those things line up well. And sometimes it's hard in this situation. And so as Mr. Beavers mentioned earlier, that's why we put this out, to gather some feedback. We have tried to grandfather in 5th graders and 8th graders in the past when we could do that. Can't always make that promise, but we try to do what we can to make this the best situation that we possibly can. But the good news is we're going to open another middle school, and in a year and a half, we're going to open 2 more middle schools. And for the first time since probably 2016, we'd be in a situation where we didn't have middle schools over capacity, because this has been the pain point in our district for a long time.
Any questions for Dr. Bradley?
I don't have a question, but as always, I just want to say thank you. The hours that you and your team have put into these maps, as you mentioned, zoning is not fun, and we all know firsthand with our own children, it's hard. But the work you've put into it to make sure that, as best as to your ability, that kids will move together so that they're not separated, from neighborhoods. I just appreciate all the work. And so we look forward to hearing from those communities affected.
Dr. Bradley, one of the things that we talked about in the zoning meeting was that the problem of where Reynolds numbers would be if we didn't make that adjustment.
Yes, sir.
With Star Trail and Creeks. Can you talk just a little bit about that?
Yes, sir. So I believe, and just try to correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going from memory here, but I think if we did not move those kids, the issue is those are densely populated neighborhoods. And so it was in the range of about 350 plus kids. And so what you're seeing there is 1444. What we would be seeing without growth, if we didn't take those communities out of Reynolds, is that Reynolds would be almost assuredly 1,900 approaching 2,000. So those communities are just so densely populated that to leave them at Reynolds, what would happen just to be clear on that, what would happen if we allowed that is that we would end up shutting Reynolds Middle School to new enrollments prior to June, almost assuredly, and we would end up doing exactly what we're talking about doing right now. We would end up taking kids out of Reynolds and sending them to Mosley anyway, because we would just, there's no more room. Anybody that's attending Reynolds right now knows that the traffic situation is not awesome. We have 12 portable classrooms. We have students learning in the MPF. I mean, it's a challenge in what we have. And so getting us down to 1,400-ish would allow Reynolds, again, just a little bit of breathing room and some ability to renovate that school on a schedule that makes sense.
Dr. Bradley, just curious your perspective. We've talked a lot about demographers and their great conservative projections when they come to Prosper ISD. And so, you know, how are you feeling? You mentioned talking to multiple demographers here, you know, about the demographic reports we're seeing specifically on the west side of town.
Yeah, I think there's one real big unknown that I think every demographer would acknowledge and has acknowledged to us. I'm very interested in what the interest rate is going to do. I mean, there's a lot of $900,000 homes in this district that are up for sale, and at 3%, they're affordable to a lot of people. At 6.5%, they're not as affordable. And so the interest rate matters a lot. When we saw the interest rate dip a month and a half ago, the developer at Mosaic told me that accelerated 2 entire blocks of production. And so, I mean, that's how, you know, that's the difficulty of this. I will say for the first time ever, we have not met the demographer's projection for this year yet. We will meet it almost assuredly in January. That's good. That's what you're supposed to do. Normally, we meet the demographer's number like September 15th or something, you know? And so the rate of growth has not been as rapid, but also the demographers kind of took the governor off because we said we're tired of understaffing and then overperforming, right? So we have a little combination there. And so it's probably a long answer to a short question, but I think we're still growing, and every demographer's meeting, I'm sure Dr. Ferguson has sat in these as well with me for so many years, and it's like every demographer's meeting starts or ends with, you don't understand, we don't see this anywhere else. Like, we can't explain this. This is not occurring in other districts across the state or anybody that we work with. They're talking about, what are we doing because we're losing 1,000 students? How to, you know, I mean, and so they're just always kind of mind blown when they come up here and see what's going on. And so I don't see any indication that we're not going to grow or overperform what they're projecting. But the rate maybe has slowed a little bit. Maybe growing 450 kids a year last year might have been, and so this year we're going to slide in at 3,390 or something, you know, I think is probably where we're headed.
Yeah, and just from the board's perspective, I would kind of put that plug in, like, that we've looked at a number, the zoning subcommittee has looked at a number of those different options that were presented by administration. And so now's the time to get your feedback in. So please, community, go get your feedback in.
I'd like to say thank you real quick to the zoning subcommittee, Mr. Dial, Mrs. Dixon, Mr. Linker. Probably not one of our more fun subcommittees, but thank you all for, you know, taking the time to review everything. And hey, we're asking you to be on that subcommittee as well. We appreciate it. Any other questions at this point?
Dr. Ferguson, is there any plan for an 8th grade choice?
We handle that case by case because everything has to do with the numbers. And so we want to be careful with that.
Like as Dr. Bradley said, it could be in one scenario, but not another, just depending on what the numbers are and trying to figure that out. Okay, thank you, Dr. Bradley.
Thank you.
That was long informational reports this evening.
Yes, it was.
A lot of good stuff, but long one. Okay, that brings us to consent agenda. You'll see everything that is there before us. Any questions, any comments on that before we entertain a motion? Hearing none, can we entertain a motion? Sure.
I move the board approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Dial. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. Motion carries there. Takes us to number 9, consideration and possible action to award the design of Folsom Elementary and Prosper High School renovations to Huckabee Architects.
Hello again. Tonight we have in attendance Mr. Brown, Ms. Colon, Mr. Tremblay from Huckabee Architects. As part of the 2023 bond initiative, we talked about renovating some of our aging campuses, and Folsom Elementary is first in line as far as elementaries go. And so we want to begin working on that plan. Takes a year and a half maybe to plan out exactly what we're going to do, because anytime you renovate a school, you try to do a lot of that work over the summer. And so we're possibly talking about the summer of 2026 before something would happen at Folsom, maybe even 2027. But Mr. Shirley and his team are working with Huckabee Architects now to talk about all of our renovations. And so we're asking tonight to go ahead and award that to Huckabee Architects. And then Prosper High School, I just want to mention, in case somebody gets too excited about this, we don't have a timeline yet, but we need an architect. Yeah, that guy. We need an architect in there because there's going to be some additions to Prosper High School. We know we have some things at our other high schools that we would like to make Prosper High School equitable to that. It's going to take some time to plan that out. And then also, it's a really large building. And so renovating all of the classrooms on that building is not something you can do over a summer or a couple of months. That is going to be a big project. And so we need to, while I don't expect this is going to happen in the next couple of years, Mr. Jones, I do think that we will begin to, we need to begin to plan towards that soon. And so we're asking for your ability to do that tonight.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bradley. How about we get a motion and then we can have a little discussion on this.
I'll make a motion. I move that the board award the design of Folsom Elementary and Prosper High School renovations to Huckabee Architects as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. First of all, thank you to our good friends of Huckabee. All the work and y'all's partnership, again, it's very special and very valuable to us. So thank y'all for all the work that you do. Mr. Tremblay specifically, thank you for everything. You have had your fingerprints on a lot of this district, and it looks great. All right, hey, it's like we said, this is another project that we've got to do and get going on. So we have a motion and a second out there. Any other thoughts before we vote on this?
Yeah, I would just assume that, our planning for Folsom being the first renovation out of the hat would be something we'd look at with our several prototype elementary school design as something that would occur over the future. And that would be the plan. Looking at this as something we would replicate over and over again at some point on each in the future. Yes.
Yes, I mean, I believe so. I think that we, I forget the term that we say, but every time that we do a school, we learn a little something on that and incorporate that going forward.
Yes,
So
sir.
I would anticipate that being
Yeah.
the same thing here as well.
Yeah.
What is that term that I'm forgetting? Anyway,
I'm not sure.
It'll come to me at some
I'll make
point,
up some
so.
words, but we'll,
thank you.
yeah, we've definitely learned some lessons. I think, the thing about, just to mention, Folsom is,
Good work.
many people may not, Folsom is now 20 years old. And so it's held up well. It was designed well, it's functioned well, but it's 20 years old. And so we do some things in our elementaries now that we used to not do. And it's time to catch up and for those students. So we will hopefully employ lessons learned.
Okay. Well, with the motion and the second, I will go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. That passes. Dr. Bradley, I see you are still up here.
Still here. Should have enjoyed it while I was gone. We're here tonight to talk about middle school number 7, as I mentioned earlier in the zoning process. And so we have a couple gentlemen here from Poe Construction tonight. Brandon, Bradley, James are here. This team has worked with us on these projects. Just so you know, these are two separate bids that we'll be discussing, but we bid them close together. And the hope, of course, is to maybe gain some efficiency on that participation as we bid these. And so Middle School 7, which is going just northwest of Legacy Gardens off Legacy Drive, is the first one we're talking about, Middle School 7. It is being recommended tonight as a guaranteed maximum price of $113,767,675. That is below the budget that we had anticipated, even when we projected in the bond issue. So I'm happy to report that. Mosley Middle School was $106 million. And so if you remember when we planned the bond issue, we were looking at 15% escalation because that's what we were seeing routinely at that time. It does appear that our inflation has dropped off a bit, not as much as I would like, but it is definitely dropping off a little bit. There is a little more money that is involved in this project that's separate, that has to do with Legacy Drive. There's some infrastructure there that you are probably aware of, and we've talked about before entering into a partnership with the town concerning the road. The water line, I believe, is involved in this project and included in this GMP, so that infrastructure will be present, but we're working through this. But I'm happy to recommend this tonight. This, again, is a 1,500 student capacity middle school to be opened in August of 2026, and we are anxious to break ground tomorrow morning. No, November 1, maybe. We'll call it November 1.
Okay, you've heard Dr. Bradley. Do we have a motion on this?
I move that the board approve the guaranteed maximum price for Middle School 7 as presented by the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Any discussion on this? I know that, hey, we need middle schools. It is some of the fastest growing schools that we have in our district, and so I know that we badly need this. Anything else from anyone?
Just like that it's below budget. Nice.
Yeah.
And I would add, just because I mentioned it earlier, just so you know, if everybody can put this in, Middle School 7 is designed to feed Prosper High School. So just so you know, those communities we just discussed, that Reynolds Middle School and Middle School 7 would be the feeders for Prosper High School. And we anticipate that being the case for a long time.
Perfect. Okay, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? That is all 7 of us. None opposed. That passes. That takes us to Dr. Bradley.
Let's talk about Middle School 8. Middle School 8 goes on the northeast side of the district at the northwest corner of Custer and Frontier. And this is, I believe, referred to as Bridges Middle School. And so we're excited to bring this one to you. The guaranteed maximum price on this one is $114,323,357. Again, would point out that this is below budget, and in the 2023 bond, we had, like all these things go, and as we were prognosticating, we thought that we'd get to go a little further before we built this. And so we had built in more inflation dollars, thinking this would cost quite a bit. So there's a substantial savings here to build this now in today's dollars instead of building it 2 or 3 years from now. So while it's a ton of money, it is perhaps a substantial savings when we talk about the bond dollars that the community dedicated to this. And so happy to report that. You see that these two are very close in price. I would note on Middle School 7, as you have heard me talk about plenty of times, if we are west of the tollway, there are more piers, they are bigger, and they are deeper. And that is the case in this situation. So we've got auger piles, and they're going 35, 40-foot depth on the west side of the district. On the east side of the district, where Middle School 8 is, we're going with our standard piers, and they don't have to go near as deep because the soil is just different and a little bit better there east of the tollway. But the reason that this one costs a little more is that, just want to remind you that where this middle school is going, there is room on this site for an elementary as well. And I think that's a huge savings to the district. When we were able to buy this land, we were able to get enough land to have a dual site. So this is going to be very similar to kind of what we have at Hayes Middle School and Jackson Elementary. And so that's a huge benefit to the district. But the middle school is going on the back portion. So part of the reason that this is a little more costly is our drives are going to be longer. We're going to be a little more concrete to get people off of Custer. I think this is, off Frontier. This is going to be a huge advantage to us because in just horrible timing, about the time we open this school, they're going to be widening Frontier. And so it's going to be to our advantage to be far off Frontier when this is going on. But a couple of years from now, we will be right back in here and we'll be talking about building an elementary in front of that middle school because there's plenty of land to do that. And so what we're doing in this is we're prepping the land for that. So there's a little bit of cost in moving dirt, preparing driveways, entrances and exits off of Frontier that will ultimately benefit the finished condition of having an elementary and a middle school on it. And so that's why the cost there is a little more, even though the pier and pile situation that we talked about earlier is different.
And great recruitment and retention for staff when you've got middle school and elementary right next door. I do want to thank Poe Construction too for the price point they're coming in with per square foot, doing a little bit of analysis in different middle schools in this area. And they're coming in a little bit higher than what we are per square foot. So thank you so much for that.
Okay, let's go ahead and get a motion and a second out there, and then we can discuss a little more. If anyone wants to make a motion.
I move the board approve the guaranteed maximum price for middle school 8 as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mr. Braden Wolf. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Okay, very, very similar situation to the last comments. I think all of us on the board, knowing Mr. Bridges, would expect it to be slightly more expensive, so. Anyway, with that said.
Never want that. You would never want that.
Any other comments, questions, anything for Dr. Bradley?
Just for clarity, Dr. Bradley, are we sharing any of the costs for the widening Frontier, or is that all on TxDOT, the town, city?
So they actually, TxDOT actually bought some frontage from us last year. You approved the sale of that. This board approved the sale of that. It was one of those that I told you we could either sell it or we could sell it. So we sold it. So they've already taken care of that. We will be responsible for the decel lanes and the right and left turn. But some of that, we even had a discussion the other day. We're going to try to work with TxDOT to not be, ridiculous about this. There's some things that maybe we just shouldn't install at the beginning. Can we just do some asphalt, scab on some asphalt instead of building something and then watching them come tear it up 6 months later? So we're going to try to work with TxDOT on that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor? That is all 7 of us, none opposed. Motion passes. Takes us to public comment. The board will hear comments from the public at this time. Individuals wishing to speak must have added their name and topic to the public comment form online or in person prior to the start of tonight's meeting. Let's see here. Speaker will be given 3 minutes this evening. Comments on any subject, whether positive or negative, must be courteous and respectful. Your comments should be directed to the board and not to the members of the audience. Any speaker with a specific complaint about a district employee, decision, or operational issue should present that complaint through the appropriate mechanism, which is the district's formal grievance process. Speakers with a specific complaint will be referred to district administration for information about the grievance process. Mr. Roundtree, you signed up this evening, and you will have 3 minutes once you reach the podium.
Thank you, ISD and board members, for having me this evening. I find great mirth in the fact that this week is National School Bus Safety Week, and the decision about to be voted on tonight and announced later is likely not going to change the risk of my daughter and all of the other PISD students at their bus stop. The decision has been based on a hazard assessment conducted in absentia by a third party in another state, scoped by the ISD to presuppose the outcome the ISD desired from the third party in the beginning. The ISD prefers this hazard assessment rather than a true comparison of the risks posed to the students and the ISD at the current stop location versus stopping inside my neighborhood. It's my personal belief that the ISD decision is truly based on route optimization versus risk to students, and I do not agree with the decision. Many of the data points that I provided to you clearly point out logic omissions and inaccurate risk equations that were involved in the decision. Fellow citizens of Prosper are also being victimized by this decision through the highly confounding placement of the bus stop in the form of $250 fines for first offenses for driving past the bus when the flashing lights and the stop sign are out. The most recent instance of that, no surprise, was this morning. The town's also being forced into the utilization of finite resources no longer available to police other areas of the town while they're protecting the PISD students at the stop location in lieu of the ISD doing so by moving the stop inside our neighborhood. On the ISD website, we have a section that touts our beliefs. 3 of those are that we believe students are first in all decisions. Another one is that we believe in valuing all students and their success and well-being. And the third one is that we believe in providing a safe and nurturing environment for students and staff. This decision directly contradicts these 3 beliefs and seriously detriments my family trust in the ISD. I will not cease to address the risk to my daughter imposed by the ISD and the board, resulting directly from the change to the bus stop location. I will continue to send you the videos of drivers ignoring traffic laws and placing all students on the bus, not just the students in my neighborhood, because we're the first stop. So all students on the bus, the driver, and the ISD bus itself at undue risk of a collision. And I'll continue to publicize this risk at every time and location available to me and clearly point out the decision, risk, and liability belongs with the members seated here in front of me now. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, sir. That takes us to report from the superintendent.
Yes, so we had both middle school and high school students, and excited to have obviously Ms. Biggs, Dr. Croy, several of our staff members involved with our students, and we really utilized your process of listening circles with our students to hear about their thoughts regarding board policy that impacts them with class rank and GPA. And so really being able to just hear from these students and truly just be there to listen. And it always impresses me the way that our kids see things, understand things, and the way that they're able to verbalize those and then give feedback to us. I know that Ms. Biggs and all of the leaders involved were very, very pleased with the information that we were able to receive from them, and then to be able to take that forward. And I think the kids were pretty excited too to be able to give feedback on a pretty big topic and looking into the future. As I explained to them, this would be well into the future, 2030. And so they know that these impacts may not directly impact them, but certainly things that they could weigh in to make improvements for all students in the district. So very excited to be able to have that opportunity with both middle school and high school kids. And then our homecoming parades, we have completed 3 homecoming parades, and next year we'll get to complete 4 homecoming parades, or 3 homecoming and 1 forthcoming, I should say. But certainly a great time to really celebrate, to join with our community and really pour into our students, because that's what these parades are all about, are our students and what they're engaged with. The pictures you have in front of you are K-12 students, and so sometimes our K-12 students may not be engaged in different things. They might be CTE or something that's not in the parade, but they have the opportunity to be able to ride in that parade. And I love doing it because just listening to the screams and the yells, and they feel like a rock star all the way through that parade as the kids are yelling and saying, "Throw candy to me." And it never fails that every time we end, they usually are like, "I had the best time ever. That was so much fun." And then I say, "Well, you can come to Rock Hill and do it," or wherever. No, I don't. So we grab those kiddos, and you can see we had a talonette who chose to ride with us on the K-12, although she could have marched in the parade as a talonette. And I see that every once in a while too, that they'll jump out of whatever they're in, baseball and different things over the years. So it's always a great time to be able to reconnect with these students and be able to talk to them about what they've seen happen in 13 years in Prosper ISD, and really hear about what their pathway is, to Dr. Bradley's point, how many stops they've made along the way, or maybe the transitions from one school to the next as we have grown. So great time. And then our Experience Prosper ISD, so we held this at all 3 of our high schools, And this was an opportunity for our 7th and 8th grade parents to be able to come and engage, but not come and engage and hear information about our programs, but actually learn by doing. So they were given a brief intro between the principal, myself, or another district leader, and then we had our curriculum team come up and talk about how our curriculum is designed and why it is designed the way that it is in Prosper ISD. And then we actually took the parents out. My experience at Rock Hill High School specifically, we had parents that were marching in band. They were going to Hilltop News and learning how to do broadcast. And then they also went to an AP level course to see what that experience was like. Many of the parents came up to me before we were started, and they were saying how thankful they were that this opportunity was presented in front of them. Many of them, this is their first child to enter into high school, and they're like, it's been a while since I've been in high school, or maybe I went to high school in another state, or maybe I wasn't educated in the country. And so being able to really see behind the scenes and be able to ask questions and learn, and really what I encourage, and I know our other leaders did, is go out and tell your neighbors and friends about this story too, and help educate. Don't just keep this information to yourself, but really how do you pay that forward to help your neighbors and friends. And so we're looking forward. We have another opportunity coming up next month, and then we'll have one more in December. We're strategically doing that because we have course selection that will begin in January. So we want our parents to be able to make those choices and be informed. So got some really good feedback from it too, from parents who afterwards said that it was very beneficial and they enjoyed their time. I think the kids enjoyed having the march and do the things that they do all day long and learn. So, but our kids and teachers were obviously incredible with our parents. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Let's see here. We will now enter into closed session according to Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Sections 071, 072, 074, and 076. Thank you all very much for joining us this evening. Right, the time is now 9:48. We are back from executive session. Let's see here. This brings us to 13A. Consideration and possible action regarding the Level 3 student parent grievance hearing. To make a motion on this, I move that the board deny the parents' remedies as requested in the Level 3 hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Van Wolf. Any discussion on this?
Yeah, Mr. Beavers, I'll be abstaining from the vote as I was absent for the Level 3 grievance hearing last month.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other discussion on this? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? Is 1, 2, 3, 2, 5 of us. All opposed? 1. Motion passes. That takes us to 13B. Consideration and possible action regarding hiring contract personnel. May I have a motion?
Yes, I move that the board approve the hiring of contract personnel as presented by administration.
Thank you, Mrs. Dixon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. All in favor? That is all 7 of us. That takes us to the time now being 9:50 p.m. We are adjourned. We will see you next month. Thank you.